My name is Yusef, and I'm 44 years old. What I'm about to share with you is the darkest chapter of my life. For years, I've been suffering, fighting to escape a nightmare I was pulled into as a teenager. A nightmare that involved sorcery, Jinn, and the darkest deception imaginable. But before I begin, please listen all the way to the end, because the lesson's not in the beginning. It's in what I barely survived to tell. I was 17, just a kid, trying to help my family. We were poor. My father had just passed away. God rest his soul. He left us nothing. No land, no money, no home of our own. Just pain and a heavy silence in our small house. I tried to take his place. I worked as a porter in the market, pulling carts, lifting crates, begging for any job I could find. But I was just a skinny boy, and the grown men pushed me aside. Day after day, I earned almost nothing, and we had no relatives to turn to. Except one, my Uncle Daoud, a man everyone called special. People said he could cast out demons, that Jinn feared him. Some even believed he was a saint. I'd never met him, not even once. He didn't come to my father's funeral. He never visited us. But when we heard he was coming to town, my mother and I decided we had to see him. Maybe he could help. We waited hours at his villa, surrounded by people seeking healing. When he saw us, he smiled. He welcomed us in. And as my mother spoke, crying about our situation, my uncle stared at me. He didn't blink. He didn't speak. He just stared. Then he said something strange. I know why you're here. I know what you want. Yusef's Rizki will come through me. We were stunned. And just like that, he told me, come with me to my village. The spirits have chosen you. I had no idea what I was walking into. He promised to take care of my mother and sister. He gave us a house. He treated us kindly. But me, he said I was different, chosen, special, like a prophet, like a saint. And I believed him. I was 17 and hungry for purpose. But then came the rules. Don't ask questions. Don't speak unless told to. Don't fear, or they'll destroy you. He took me to a remote mountain. We walked through forests, caves, until we reached an old stone house. An old man greeted us, filthy, nearly naked, with a wild beard. This was the sheikh who would train me. The first thing he told me, take off your clothes. From now on, no bathing. You're pure. Even your filth is pure. Then he gave me a mat. Sleep in that cave. Relieve yourself beside your bed. And eat what I give you. No questions. I obeyed. Even though the food was rotten. Even though the cave was freezing. Even though I knew something was wrong. On the 8th night, I woke to footsteps. Heavy, slow, circling me. I didn't look up. Then I saw them 2 hairy black legs, like a camel's, standing in front of me. It breathed hot air down my neck, but I didn't scream. Eventually, it left. The next morning, I was covered in bruises. I told the sheikh. He smiled. That was one of the kings of the Jinn, he said. He was testing your courage, and you passed. I thought I was becoming powerful. In truth, I was becoming a slave. Then came the final test. Purify yourself for prayer, he said. Use your own urine. I couldn't believe it. And for your last retreat, he said, you will relieve yourself on the Quran. That was the moment I woke up. I realized I was not on a holy path. I was in hell. I pretended to agree. Asked for 2 days to rest. Then I ran into the mountains, through forests, barefoot, filthy, half naked, until I reached a village. The people helped me, clothed me, fed me. And when I told them everything, they said the mountain was cursed. But just as the call to prayer sounded, a voice screamed in my ears, A demon's voice. I collapsed, shaking, crying out. The villagers called a true religious healer, a Raki. He placed his hand on my head and began to read the Holy Quran. That's when I saw it. The creature, massive, black, horned. The one who had stalked me in the cave, it grabbed my neck. I gasped for breath. The Raki kept reciting, and then it vanished. That healer told me the truth. There is no such thing as a Jinn saint. These are lies used by sorcerers. What you lived through was black magic. He'd read Quran on me every day until I finally began to heal. I returned home, only to discover that my uncle had kicked out my mother and sister. We left, found shelter, found peace, I found work, and I found faith. Now, I memorize the Quran. I study real religion, and I warn others, don't fall into what I fell into. The devils still try. They appear in my dreams. But I'm no longer afraid, because now I know the truth. Thank you for listening to my story. If you made it this far, you're not just a listener. You're someone who cares about truth. Share this with someone who needs to hear it, and may God protect us all from the unseen.